Hello, friends, and happy Thursday. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome to today's live level up conversation. Whether you're joining in live or joining me on replay, let's get started.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Award-winning financial pro. Get ready. Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Hi, friends. Can you believe we're almost at the end of the first week of September? It's crazy how quickly time is moving, right? I was just giving it a thought right before we joined the show. It's like, oh my goodness, in just no time, we're going to be in October. In no time, we're going to be talking about New Year's resolutions. Time is a flying. And I'm so grateful that you are here today with me. For those of you, who are new to the show, welcome. I'm Winnie, your host, an award winning financial pro, a Forbes and CNBC contributor, and a CNBC council member. And we are streaming here live on many different social media platforms. So thanks so much for making the time. Let's get started. Let you know where the market is because it hasn't closed yet. We've probably got another 15 plus minutes here. The Dow is currently down 276 points. NASDAQ, though, has just turned green in the positive, up over 14 points currently. And the S&P 500 is also down about 24 points. We'll definitely come back before the end of the show, let you know how the market closes. But we've got a lot of business news that I can't wait to share with you. And one of the big stories, of course, this week is talking about the weaker jobs data that has been revealed. Now, this is a story that's been shared on Yahoo Finance, talking about ADP's August job report, which showed only about 99,000 new jobs, far below the expectations that they had of 145,000 new jobs for the month. So now this is the fifth consecutive month of declining job growth, which of course raises concerns about a slower economy or slowing economy. But that actually could be good news because we are looking forward and hoping in a week plus here that the Federal Reserve will decrease interest rates. But weekly jobless claims for August, late August, came at about 227,000, also slightly better than forecasted. So this is kind of giving some mixed signals in terms of the US labor market. So we'll see. The Fed is, we're expecting the Fed to cut rates by at least a quarter of a percent, 0.25%. But could it be a larger cut? We don't know yet, but that's still something that we'll be watching very closely. But economists has just come out, and this was reported on CNBC by Sam Meredith, talking about economists has now warned that yes, the Fed is expected to make cuts this month, but he's warning also that too aggressive of a rate could actually create economic havoc. So he's saying that a significant rate cut by the Federal Reserve could trigger negative market reactions, something that we definitely don't want to see. Uh, and of course, the economist by the name of George Lagarius is saying that a modest 25 basis points or a quarter of 1% would be reasonable, but anything larger could actually signal panic and even harm the market confidence and investors today. Now we know the Fed is expected to start reducing rates at its September 17th to the 18th meeting, but there's still a lot of signals that are coming in, economic signals, to really give us an indication of how much more the Fed will cut. So we'll definitely report back on that. I think it's sort of something that we need to wait and see on. But traders, investors are sort of expecting a cut anywhere between 25 and 50 basis points. So I'm guessing it's probably going to be more conservative, but who knows? I'm not in the room making that decision, but certainly I do think that a rate cut will probably occur before the November election. And that, the Fed's already been signaling that pretty strongly too. And speaking of things that are in the news, this is actually something that they really wanted to put on your radar. If you didn't know already, there's been a big trend on social media. It's actually been big on TikTok, a viral ATM check fraud scam. And I see CrossX Fighter joining us on YouTube Live. Thanks so much, Joshua, for making the time. I think Sadiq and many others joining us all over social media. Let's talk about this trend. Okay, this is a big thing. It's called the free money glitch. and it was coined on TikTok. This is being reported on CNN. Many financial publications were reporting on this in the last 24 hours. But this viral TikTok videos, I should say, are saying that users could actually exploit a glitch to withdraw free, what they call quote unquote free money. As we know, there's no such thing as free money, just to be clear, from Chase ATMs. Now, if you think that Chase isn't smart enough to catch on this very quickly, you're absolutely wrong. But people now have deposited large checks and then withdraw smaller sums before the checks themselves would actually clear. And so on TikTok, they were saying that this was a hack, is a form, but let's be very clear. It wasn't any sort of hack. Depositing a check, taking some money out, this is not a hack. This is a form of check fraud, which is a criminal offense that everybody should know that this is not something you do. Now, Chase has warned customers not to fall for this scam and to be very clear that they absolutely know that people are doing this, and they said that it has been resolved, the issue has been resolved. And although some users experienced negative balances as the bank corrected the withdrawals, um, this is a much bigger issue than some sort of TikTok trend, some sort of funny thing, some sort of hack. This is something very big. In fact, financial experts are advising across the board not to do this. Don't spend that money. It's fraudulent money, and definitely don't try this on your own. And just so you know, this is like so much bigger than the bank being upset that you took out money. I mean, bank fraud, check fraud, these are things that can stay on your financial record for a long time. And we're talking about in the future, if you want to apply for a credit card, if you want to, like rent an apartment, if you wanted to get a job, most likely they're going to check your financial background and things like your credit. So you definitely don't want to mess with it. So if you see a trend like this on TikTok or YouTube or on X or anywhere else, Instagram video, don't do it. If it sounds too good to be true, it absolutely is. And there's absolutely never going to be a chance where there is free money. I think we can all agree on that. There's no such thing as free money. There's only honest, working, hard earned money in most cases, right? So if it sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. And just because the bank has an ability for you to, they have a glitch and you're able to go to the ATM and take out more money than you really should, you know better than to do that. And so don't do that. All right, let's continue on. I want to talk about this new trend, and it's something that, especially if you're a young person, Gen Z or millennial, you're a recent college grad, you might be saying that, okay, this economy isn't as great as it may seem, because you might be having trouble finding a job. And if you are, you're certainly not alone. This is an article shared on the New York Times talking about the hot labor market and has it in fact started to fizzle out. Well, if you check with a recent college grad, you might actually feel like it probably has fizzled out. The labor market has certainly cooled, and there's fewer job openings and, of course, sluggish hiring, and this is affecting new graduates. In fact, a recent survey has showed over a 14.5% decrease in hiring in many fields, many popular fields, in fact, in the past. And some of these fields include real estate, finance. Finance has been one that typically still has been pretty strong because, people need people to help manage money and make financial decisions and play that role, economic role, in businesses and for families alike. Well, the unemployment data has come out for recent grads. It's still pretty low at 4.3%, but the hiring rate is the area that is of concerning because they have dropped to levels that haven't been seen since the year 2014. And many young graduates are actually reporting long job searches, saying it's taking forever on a different job sites. They're putting resumes out there, and they're just and even encountering ghost listings, which are job ads that are actually not actively filled, but they're just being put out there. So with high interest rates, they've said that this has really discouraged a lot of businesses and companies and hiring entities from expanding hiring and contributing. This is contributing really to these slowdowns in hiring. So we'll see what happens in this this month's Fed cuts that are expected to be happening, hopefully with drops in interest rates, well, that will regroup a little bit, and people will once again be hiring out for those new college grads. So if you've just been graduating, or if you just graduated last year, or if you're looking for your first job, or maybe you're starting college, don't worry. If you try hard enough and you really want it, in most cases there's still jobs out there, just a little bit less. So do your best, and hang strong. Let us know how that's going for you. If you're experiencing less job opportunities or less callbacks, definitely let us know. We'd like to hear from you. And I see, yes, CrossX Fighter says he is all ready for Halloween. Can you believe that? Halloween next month. I mean, I'm glad that you bring that up. I'm just going to say, because so often, I don't know if this happens to you, but I always like don't prepare for Halloween. And then my kids need costumes. I need costumes. And like literally, life passes us by. So now, this year, with that early reminder, maybe those of you who are watching who are thinking about dressing up for Halloween, which I know many of you do, maybe this is your reminder to start looking for that next costume. All right, speaking of places you can shop, this is news, and I'm curious to see how you feel about this, because I had a really strong default of answer as soon as I read the headlines and articles on this. But let me know what you think about this. Okay, so there's this big thing about Kroger wanting to merge with Albertsons, and there's concerns that, well, this could actually not benefit consumers. So this was actually shared on Quartz article about Kroger CEO Ronnie McMullen announcing that grocery prices, he feels, will actually drop as soon as the merger takes place with Albertsons. Now, this is a 25 whopping $1 billion merger. In fact, it's going to be the largest of its kind, and it's expected to take place possibly, if this is approved, but one of the big concerns of the Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC, and why they're opposing this merger is they're saying that this is going to actually harm competition, and that competition is healthy, especially when it comes to you and I and for our groceries. And they're saying that with less competition, this could also drive prices higher. Well, there's the CEO saying absolutely not the case. As soon as the merger takes place, we will immediately start to drop grocery prices. So, as you can probably guess, my default answer was, well, why don't you drop prices now and show the FTC that you can be trusted and lowering prices and not taking advantage of the regulatory levels that we've experienced the last few years. So they're saying that Kroger and Albertsons plans to sell around 600 of their stores to ease sort of regulatory approval. Hopefully, that's not a store near you. I'm hoping that's not the store near me. But the merger is they're planning to try and compete against other retail giants, such as Walmart, which obviously dominates about 22% of U.S. grocery stores currently. But let me know how you feel about that. Do you feel like we should wait to see that after the merger takes place that they're going to decrease prices on our groceries? Or do you feel like my default answer was, well, show us, why don't you decrease grocery prices for us now in good faith, and show us what we can look forward to when the merger takes place? Or do you feel like, better safe than sorry? I will also agree with the FTC that having competition is a good thing. That means if Albertsons prices their watermelon at this price, then maybe, Kroger or Safeway or any of the numerous Walmart other supermarkets will, because one is they're going to try and also meet that. So I'm curious to see how you feel about that. I think it's very important, and it impacts all of us because most of us do grocery shop. And we also want to make sure that as we go into Halloween and Thanksgiving, that our price of groceries is going to be reasonable. Pro or con, let me know. Love to hear from you on that as well. Okay. All right, let's talk about the next story. And this, I want to go sort of segue over to transportation. Now, Tesla has announced, this is pretty exciting. Tesla's launching the world's first all electric Giga train. Okay, this is pretty cool. And get this, it's going to be free to ride for I don't know how long, but for now, it's going to be free, right? This is actually announced by the Cool Down, Audrey Brewer's reporting there. Tesla has launched its first all electric battery powered Giga train. This is going to be happening in Germany. Now, I know. I know many of you love to visit Germany. You know, they've got the Autobahn and they got all those very cool auto manufacturers and new technology. Well, this is going to be running from the Eckner station to Tesla Sud near Berlin. Now, this Giga train currently can accommodate 500 passengers. And this is going to include, of course, Tesla employees and the public, and it's offering free rides. Now, this is order to promote green transportation. The train is expected to reduce carbon emissions by 50 tons compared to your typical traditional diesel train. But Tesla also plans to expand the Gigatrain's capacity to be able to transport 4,500 employees across three different shifts, adding new stops as construction progresses. So, this initiative does align with Tesla's mission to accelerate the transition to renewable energy, more green energy, with even more plans to convert the entire train fleet to electric. They're hoping by the end of the year. Now, Tesla has also supported other green projects, as you know, including like obviously their very popular electric vehicles, planting 1 million trees, they said, to offset environmental impacts by building the Gigafactory near Berlin. Um, so let me know how you feel about that. I think that's cool. I think this is one of the areas that we can look forward to, and we're grateful to the leadership of Elon Musk for things like this, right? Really pushing the envelope on transportation, green energy to help reduce our carbon footprint on Mother Earth. So that's cool. All right. Well, let's continue on. And then we got another, I know, Cross-X Fighter is saying sounds pretty cool. I think it sounds pretty cool. I'm actually looking forward to. I think that would definitely be on my bucket list if I was visiting Europe anytime soon, to check out that train and see how it rides. I bet you it rides really silently, just like most electric vehicles do, and probably it's probably a pretty clean, fun experience. And maybe who knows? Maybe you'll be sitting next to an engineer at Tesla. That could be fun to talk. That'd be an interesting conversation for sure. All right. Speaking of all things transportation, let's segue over to BMW. And it's not just BMW, and other car companies are doing this as well. But BMW has announced that they are, and this is reported by Reuters, that by 2028 they're going to be launching their first hydrogen powered car. That's right, hydrogen, not just electricity, powering a car by 2028. This is developed in partnership with Toyota. Now, the vehicle will be an existing model with a hydrogen fuel cell option. Now, details on pricing and production still aren't quite disclosed just yet. But to give you an idea, hydrogen fuel cell cars like BMW's iX5 hydrogen can refill really quickly and have a range of about 310 miles, which is great, right? So you can get on and back on the road. You don't have to sit there for charging for quite a long time, which is, for those of you who drive electric vehicles like I know, you know that when you're almost empty, that you got to sit there and charge for a very long time. So it doesn't make for the best road trip car. But a hydrogen fuel car could actually be the solution for this. So BMW is focusing on both battery and hydrogen technologies so that they can sort of stay flexible in the evolving green mobility market, which I think that's cool because I know really popular now in, like, for example, China, the top selling or most demand vehicles now are sort of that hybrid plug-in type of vehicle. But it would mean nice for us to also have a lot of those options here in the US. So while hydrogen vehicles offer advantages like long range, fast refueling, unfortunately, the infrastructure for hydrogen fueling is still nowhere close to what you're experiencing now for electric vehicles, and certainly not for your typical gas powered vehicle. But BMW is saying they expect significant expansion of hydrogen refueling by the year 2028 to support their hydrogen vehicle plants. So let me know how you feel about that. Are you leaning hydrogen? You're leaning electricity? Or could a car have both? That will be interesting because I do think nowadays a lot of people that I've spoken to do like the concept of electric vehicle, but for those of you who, if you own only one car, and if you own only one car and it's an electric vehicle, that's really hard, especially if you like to travel or move around, because the range can be an issue, and time, is an issue too. Because in the time that it would take to refuel a gas vehicle, or sounds like a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle, well, you have to wait a lot longer typically to charge your electric vehicle, unless you're able to charge at home, and it charges overnight. But then, of course, your range is sort of limited to a certain circumference from your distance from your first point of charge. And typically, when you charge your electric vehicle, this can take like 30 minutes to an hour, depending on like how fast the charge can be. And it's very inconsistent, I will say. As someone who drives an electric vehicle and who's done a road trip, it can be really, really haphazard. You could charge at one place, supercharging place, and it could be really quick. And you could go to another supercharging place and it could not be quick, depending on how many other vehicles are charging at any given time, depending on a whole number of reasons that you don't know. But once you plug in, then you find out, and you really don't know how quick you're going to get your charge. So, anyhow, those are my thoughts on the topic, but I really want to hear your thoughts. So thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for being a part of Level Up. Let's take a look at the market and its close. Currently, it just closed like 3 minutes ago. The Dows currently are closed down 219 points. Nasdaq closed up 43 points in the positive, so that's good. The S&P 500 though closed down 16 points as well. So we'll see how the market does tomorrow. But today, not the best days, I would say, for those of us who invest in the financial markets. But with that, thank you so much, my friends, for being a part of today's Level Up. Always a treat to spend this time with you. Do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated on all the latest content. And to watch past full episodes of Level Up, you can always check out social media handles and check out NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, Samsung, LG, Roku, and many other streaming platforms. And when sharing the episode online, please tag at Winnie Sun so I can see when you show your support, and thank you, like I must do with Joshua. Thank you so much, Joshua, for doing this over and over again this week. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for those of you who tune in to Yes Factor with Winnie Sun on Apple Podcasts or anywhere that you tune in. With that, I appreciate your time. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll probably see you again next week. Take care, be well, have a beautiful weekend. Bye bye now.